This brew is brought by our solutionary partners at Think Ad Group, Dealership Toolkit, Elite FI Partners, Exogloss, and the Nextel app. Let's brew!
That is it. That is the whole reason we cannot move forward. The whole reason we cannot listen to others is because our ego will not allow us to do so. Check the ego. It is just a state of mind. It isn't who you actually are. It isn't who you want to be. Okay? It is what you think you have to be to impress or to improve upon others. It is not the case. So do not worry about that part of it. Be authentic. But remember, being authentic comes at a price. Okay? I said this yesterday to somebody who said, well, it isn't that hard to be honest. No, you're not. It's not that hard to be honest, but it's hard to hear honesty. So if you're going to be the person in the honest seat, remember, people are not, for the most part, going to love that. And that's what I learned, man. I was honest with these guys right out of the gate that, hey, dude, I'm here for the customer. I ain't here for you all. You guys, it's your responsibility on the desk to work gross. Salespeople's job is to build value and move the car deal forward. If you're trying to build gross, dude, I had car deals back in the 90s that took 6 hours. I had a desk manager so frustrated with a customer, he made me go back and forth on $100 discounts for almost 2 hours just to prove a point. That shit does not need to live in this car biz any longer. Knock it off. Make it simple. That's the goal here. So got started because of a family friend, got in it because of money, and then right as I got into it 2 years later was 9/11. So you learn a lot of shit real fast when the whole business just stopped.
So. Man, wow. I got so much to say, but I just want to make sure that I do agree with you on the understanding that you don't need to know too much about how to sell something. You became a master at helping somebody buy.
You solve their problem. You're a problem solver. You're a solutionary. Right. Period. When you look at it that way, when you're there not to sell somebody something, but to solve their transportation problem, solve their credit problem, solve whatever that issue is that they're bringing to you, because there is an issue. There's always an issue when it comes to it. Solve that. Do not be the one, buy this car. It's amazing. It's got all these options. They don't care.
Yeah, that's your goal.
Some of them, that might be the solution that you need to give them, but find the solution. Find what the real problem is, which you do extremely well, and you brought that up. You don't sell cars. You never have. No. You've always just solved transportation problems. I don't this exact words, but that's what you did.
And I'll tell you, you just said it right there. You talked about you were just about to say was something that I think is very important, which was customers. Maybe they care, maybe they don't care, right? So you guys remember the Men's Warehouse, the founder of the Men's Warehouse, George Zimmer. I guarantee it, right? You're gonna love the way you look. I guarantee it. Taglines everywhere, right? What a business model. When I worked for those dudes, hardcore training. You went out to California for 2 weeks, went to Suits U, all right? And the chancellor of Suits U was George himself, right? This dude was in the room running a multi-billion-dollar company. He would one thing that resonated with me right away, because I got really stuck on the details of men's suits. I thought it was really important to know everything about the angles, the threads, the counts, the this, the that. And he stopped me, pulled me aside one day, and he said, Sean, we'll make this real easy for you. 90% of your customers care about 10% of what you know. 10% of your customers care about 90% of what you know. Stop worrying about what you know and start listening.
That's right.
Oh.
And it changed everything, dude. Changed everything. And that's the dude who taught me how to be a showman. All right? Because in a Men's Warehouse, if you guys ever been, you buy your suits, they put up shirts, ties, shoes, socks. I mean, they give you the entire experience. They visualize it all forward. I love that part of it, right? So I'd be putting a tie up for you, Frederick. You and your lady be looking at ties. She'd say, oh, Frederick, that tie is disgusting. I would throw it. I wouldn't even look behind me. I would just throw it through the showroom. I would grab another tie. How you like this? I don't like that. Okay, see you later. And putting on the show, people in the room would stop working with their salesperson just to wait to talk to me. Well, what was that? That was fun. How did he do that? Fun. How to do what? How did I throw a tie over my shoulder? It's a matter of not caring, and I gotta be cautious with that, right? Because that's a term I use a lot. I don't care. That isn't what I mean. What I mean is I'm unafraid of what people may think of what I'm doing. It's not that I don't care. I used to use that line all the time with my girlfriend, now wife. She hated it. She said, don't say that. You do care. You do care. And I couldn't find out a way to say it. The reality is I do care. I'm just unafraid of, I guess you could say, the consequences of my actions. And I do that in the most respectful way.
That's a key thing that I listen to and I'm hearing outside of all that. And I want to make sure that our listeners and our watchers and everything pick up this understanding. that it's not so much that you don't care, right? So somebody's perceived value or somebody's perception to them, and many people have heard this, perception is reality.
Yes.
That's
100%.
That is the reality that they make. That doesn't mean that that's perception. You might perceive that I am a tall person because you only see me this way. It's not the case. Though. I'm not a tall man. I'm just not. Okay. You may hear the sound of a person on the phone. I had a salesperson. His name's Lamar. Right? You show up, they get there, and I can't tell you how many customers would look at Lamar, and he's this quirky little Caucasian guy, cool little hair. You know, I mean, it's just totally different than what they expected to see when they heard Lamar talking on the phone, or they got Lamar texting. They're like, "You're Lamar? Yeah, I'm Lamar." Right? So that perception of what is on the other side of the phone or what's on the other side of the screen, to somebody else, that's their reality. That does not necessarily mean that that's reality. And so the action of not caring, quote unquote, of what it is that somebody else perceives means that you're not investing value in what it is that they think or how they see it. You know what the truth is. You know what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're doing for. And when you act inside of that without caring how other people perceive it or ingest it, you release yourself of the responsibility of having to actually be uplifted based off of their opinion. Now, if they like it, great. If they don't like it, great. It doesn't impede you. It doesn't stop you. But perception of the eye is something that sees things from many, many different angles. And once you jump onto the other side of the lights, once you step on the other side of the ball, you start to see that there's a bigger reality than what it is that maybe you've been able to see. So you not being limited by other people's perception has been something that I'm sure has definitely catapulted you to being the person that you are, while at the same time knowing the things that you know, knowing what's going on.
Lou, I got to be honest with you, dude. That's exactly the case. It's about the embracing, right? So when we started CarBiz, we started off on a little bit of a rocky foot. I left a large consulting agency to start this company. They were none too pleased with that. So they came after us. They sued us for a non-compete clause for starting our company and talking to quote unquote their dealers. But because I'm someone who I don't stand down from anything. I don't want to have a fight. Let's be clear about that. But I'm also not going to walk away from one when I'm being pushed in the back. That's not who I am either. And that's what this was. People coming after me with a lawsuit. Found it hilarious, right? $1 billion organization, little dude with at the time 3 clients. It seemed really odd. But so for the first almost 3 years, Lou, I wasn't on social media because we as a company thought that it would do us a detriment. We thought that having my loud ass mouth and my no holds barred attitude would play against us. And so we didn't do it. And I almost remember the day where we were all sitting around, me, my business partner, my wife, and we were talking. I said, hey, look, what do you guys think about maybe doing this like podcast idea? But if we're going to do that, I got to get onto social and I got to do things. And my business partner was like, ooh, and my wife even more like, I don't think so. And it came down to the fact that I said, look, why don't we use this as sort of reverse betting? And they both looked at me like, what is he talking about? I said, if we do the show the way I am, who I am, and people can see the show, then maybe we'll just eliminate the people that don't want to talk to us. Instead of having to deal with those phone calls and attitudes moving up to it, maybe they'll see the show and they'll say, wow, this guy is an arrogant asshole. I would never do business with him. Well, that's awesome. Then the show worked because the point is I would rather use it to narrow my pool than increase my pool, which I know is advertising podcast. But that's how I viewed it was if people were interested, then they would probably be interested in the entire package. Because what you see on the show on Mondays or what you see on Fridays is the same thing that happens when there's no camera, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. So none of this is any different to me. I don't have to get up or be someone different for my show or for my outside stuff. This is my life. I'm able to just live it and put it out there. So dude, I'm not going to sit here and tell people perception is reality, but you've got to be able to respect other people's reality. Even if you don't agree with it, it doesn't really matter because it's still theirs. It's still what they're dealing with. And so for me to discount it and say I don't care was selfish and rude of me. So like I said, now I try to get into not that I don't care. It's just I either can't empathize or I'm not really interested in seeing a point that I wouldn't agree with, which is part of my downfalls. I get that. I try to listen as much as I can, but when someone loses me, they probably lost me.
And I love that you're straightforward, and that's key. I love that you said that you did that to vet it. You started the podcast to show people who you are, what you're about. So if that lessen that pool of leads out there for you, great, because you're right. Here's the thing, folks. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Right? And quality is so key, because when you go out there and you put a product out there and you got a lot of it out there, but none of it's working and no one likes what you're doing and you guys don't see eye to eye and they're not implementing what you put in place for them to make them better, then it's not going to work anyway and you're going to look like a joke. So the idea, and you did genius there, Sean, you said you came out to let people know who you were to the point where they were like, I either want to do business with this guy or I don't. You made it very clear who you are, what type of business you do, what you can do for people. And when they saw that, they're either going to gravitate towards it and say, I need that right now, or they're going to be like, I don't need that right now. But the funny thing is some people put it to the side and then one day they go, I do need that now. People change.
Oh, yeah. I've had people reach out to me after I had one of my turned into one of my best clients. He reached out to me after 3 years of seeing me on LinkedIn, and 3 years previous he had met me at a 20 group in New York City. And it was like, at that time, Sean, and I remember that 20 group, dude. It was my first 20 group as a business owner. We went way out of our way. I'm surprised anyone ever called me, but I do still have one client from that meeting. Actually, both those guys are still on my roster. But one deal I did make in the day, 2014. That customer actually helped us evolve to our current offer today because we took so much client input when we started. And we were like, okay, what do you want to see? What do you want to see? And this guy was on the cutting edges in California, runs a huge Honda dealer. But at that 20 group, dude, they told me to go do a research project, right? They're like, yeah, go research the dealerships, look at their footprints, do all these things. I'm like, okay. Well, I did that in the most honest way, thinking, dude, this is what dealers want to hear. They want to see all these mistakes and issues and areas to fix. We gave them flash drives, dude, with our logo on it because we thought, again, this is what they're going to remember us. Turns out a lot of dudes were offended by what was on that flash drive because of how just, like I said, how straight up it is and how honest it is. And that offended a lot of people. And so I actually never, to this day, have been invited back to another 20 group, which is not, again, I don't care. There I go again. I don't care that I'm not invited. I find it funny that I made such an egregious mistake my first time by just calling everybody out, which is what I thought they wanted to hear. It's why I thought they went to those groups. It's why I used to go to those groups, but apparently I missed the mark on this.
But you did the right thing, in my opinion. I think that you kept true to you. You kept true. That's one thing John Resurrection said the other night was that be you, be yourself, because people will respect that. And you're doing that so well. Though it didn't seem like it was the right time, maybe it didn't work out that moment, but I can promise you those seeds that you planted even back then, the way you did it, you're gonna get all the fruit from that when you harvest it, man. You're gonna get so much more yield from that than you could ever imagine.
That's what we hope for. It's funny. You can see how much people are interested in the show. But I was just talking to my wife about this last night. All you got to do is go to the YouTube channel, and you can see the interest in the show. Episodes 1 and 2 are mad views. The shit falls off after that, dude, because people are like, "Oh my god, this guy just keeps going on," which I get. And again, I don't do this for the views. I don't do it for the likes. I don't do it for the comments. I do Monday's show for my own sanity and my own therapy because it helps me get shit off my chest and have sometimes cool people on, or I just get to sit there and soapbox, which is fun for me. And the Friday stuff, you guys brought up earlier, Frederick, you said you don't see a lot of car guys do that. Well, yeah, that's what we're hoping for, bro. We're hoping to be a little bit different. And my wife now this year, she's going to dedicate our IG feed to just pictures of the outdoors. You're not even going to see shit on our IG feed. It's going to sell you nothing. You're not going to see any. You're barely going to see the back of this sweater. It has the actual company website on it. Now that's about the most you'll see because she just really wants to focus on nature and beauty and bringing things forward. And she said, "Is that cool with you to put on your car guy Instagram?" Yeah, all day. Like I don't care. See how common that is for me. I'm not worried about what people think if we do an IG feed all about the outdoors.
That's huge.
But that's the thing. It's like that is what makes it special. Be different. Be you. And I love that you're being you. I love that you're letting your wife get involved in that. That's so huge. That's being you. I encourage my wife all the time to be part of this. And I know she's starting to get really. Like now that I've been doing it for about a year, she's finally starting to open up to like, oh my God, this is actually something real. You put in some work to the point where Last night I get home from work, and tomorrow is our 1-year anniversary for our podcast. Tomorrow is the day that we release it. We released it on 1/20/2020 was our first episode. And so tomorrow's going to be 1 year. So we're real excited to have you here today. So it's like celebrating our 1 year.
1 year. Well, good job, John. That's awesome to hear. We just celebrated, I think, I want to say 3 maybe. On the podcast. But again, you guys are consistent. You all do this stuff, multiple times in a given week, and that's impressive too. You guys also have the seasons. I see that, the idea of season 1, season 2. I do that with what we call the Cardinals Chronicles. That's where we go and we really highlight people individually. We give them a platform for 45 minutes, maybe even up to an hour. That show is meant to be educational. It's meant to be highlighting of the human experience. And so every year we have a different feel to that. So yeah, stay after it, guys. You guys, like I said, you guys are doing it weekly. That's a big deal. I do a Monday show. Everyone knows that. Everyone's like, oh, when are you going to give us content on Tuesday? Nope. Content days are Monday and Friday. Unless someone has me on their show, in which case I shared it out last night, albeit late, and put it in front of people. But yeah, that's my calendar. That's how I roll. That's how I fit social into my life, and not the other way around. Right? Social doesn't make my life. It fits into my life as it's supposed to, and doesn't dominate it. Although my cell phone dominates my life, and that's a problem I'm certainly working on. Not well enough, but one I'm going to get better at.
Yeah, that's no doubt. I've been working on that too. This whole past year, being very active on social has been new for me, and there's a balance. Like my wife, she's not used to that. I never had Facebook, never had Instagram, never had any of that. I had LinkedIn. I wasn't obsessed with it, but the cell phone obsession is big. It's always in my hand. I'm always looking at it. I'm always trying to look at updates. I'm working on that myself, so that is something that I have room for improvement. I do need to keep my social working, but I also need to find a way to not, like, when it turns to a certain time at night, put it away. It's hard for me at night sometimes. It's like, I got one more thing.
The key thing that you do, Sean, that most people don't pay attention to is making sure that you're intentional about getting outside, about making that something that you do part of your life. I know that's often the reset for me. I go for a walk. I go over to the creek. I go take my walk with the Lord, and then I get reset, I get recalibrated, I get grounded to where it is that I'm going, what it is that I'm thinking. And because of the hyper digital action that we do, right, in creating, a lot of the media that you get yourself into, I mean, you can get a headache from staring at it so much. I got blue blockers now to help me with the Blu-rays, right? But I am intentional in sometimes to make sure that phone is over there. I'm not touching it. Not answering it. I don't care how many times it buzzes. I'm not going towards it. I have to reset myself and get back to a human that's right next to me, right? Talk to the wife. Make sure that the kids understand that I'm not having a conversation with them like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are so important for us to do, but it takes intent. It's intentional. I know if I don't close a car deal or something goes wrong with the car deal on the lot, I got to get outside. I got to go for a quick walk before I say something silly. Before I act out of character, and before I put more value into what isn't actually helping me, whatever it may be, what's irritating me, right? Sometimes you can get caught on your scroll and reading absolutely nothing. I know.
So frequently. And last time I was in retail, my buddy, he's now the owner. He was the owner's son at the time. Now he's the owner, and he's grown the group exponentially. They're actually one of our partners. It's a really cool story. But he would always say to me, Sean, can we go for a lot walk real fast? And that was if I did something maybe he wasn't cool with, or maybe he saw something in the showroom he wasn't cool with and wanted to bring it to my attention. He didn't do it publicly. He didn't bring you out in the middle of the showroom or scream at you in your office where everyone could see you. He'd say, let's go on a lot walk. And you get in that lot walk, and by the time you went around the 6 acres, you heard the position. You knew where you stood, and it was obvious. So, yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate that. And Get Outside Fridays, that's what it's about. It's about getting outside, clearing your mind. I don't bring my phone outside. We live here in Wisconsin, dude. It's wintertime. Well, you better be cool with the outdoors and the cold if you want to live in Wisconsin. So we are. We do all the winter activities. We snowmobile, we snowshoe, we ski. We throw ourselves into the environment because it's where we live. So Get Outside Friday, clear your head, take a walk, do whatever is necessary. And I love that people are starting to really get into it, man. Share their pictures with us. Share when they were outside. That's what I want to see. Again, that's what I do this for. I don't do it so people will share it a million times and make me viral and likes. And that's just not it. I don't see that as the reality of social media. I see it as a place of connection And so that's what I utilize it for.
So incredible to be talking to somebody that does take priority in being intentional about doing those things. Because, folks, it's not going to happen. You can say that you want to take a break, but unless you go take that break, you're not going to do it. I know me, I get obsessive about completing a task, and I got to get it done, got to get it done. And then sometimes I'll take longer trying to get that task done because I won't take a break from it. I won't go get a reset, right? I'm trying to solve a problem, but you can't figure it out if you're just only focused on just that issue. When you get outside of it for a moment, you get to look back into it, and then that idea may pop up, that capability may, that remembrance of what it is that you have a tool of can fix that thing that you're working on. And I'm so thankful that we have somebody that we get to glean from, we get to watch, we get to learn from, and get to continuously improve our game for the next level. Speaking of the next level, I want to talk about making sure that you, car guys and car gals, are using tools to get to the next level before we get to the next question. And that's by filling up your hopper with a whole lot of prospects utilizing the Next Sale app with our friend Jason Garris. Utilizing apps like the Next Sale app helps you to do some prospecting in digital market land, but it's something that you have to be intentional about.
Help you get reviews and help sell kinds of stuff.
Just having the tool means nothing if you don't actually put in the effort and work for it. But we are moving on this five-liner.
So, question number 3 for you. I know we've been talking a lot, and it's been a lot of fun. You're easy to talk with, Sean. I love it because you hit points that are so true, and it really hits home with me, especially because I think, much like everybody that I invite to the show, there's a reason why I invite you. I feel very like we're on the same frequency. Like I understand that where you're coming from, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm so glad to have you here. We all grow up in this business, and we all go through things, but we always have somebody that sometimes points us in the right direction. I know you talked about, the Men's Warehouse, and George. Who has been your biggest influence in helping you grow to be who you are today?
My wife.
Oh, I love it.
110%. Obviously give credit to the parents. They did a hell of a job, 1 through 20. I moved out when I was 19, 20 years old. So 1 through 20, mom and dad, you're the best. I love you for it. You did your job. You did it well. You allowed me to have the tools, the flexibility, and the freedom to be who I am. But to truly be who I am today, there's no one else besides my wife, Stephanie, that I would ever give credit for that to. Recently, I'd probably give a little credit to my therapist, Jessica. She's dope. But ultimately, it's my wife. It's someone who has helped me see me for me. It is someone who, when I first met her, the first thing she did was call me out on the carpet after I got done with a phone call. And it's not something I was used to, man. I lived my life with money being the leader, right? So when you do that, the idea and sense of listening to other people was always, well, yeah, I got money. And it was so bad. I used to answer questions with the answer being related to money. Like I had an aunt who didn't like the car business, and she thought I was a scumbag because I was in it, right? I pull up to a family event in an Escalade, right? That I don't even pay for. And so people immediately are like, oh, the scumbag. And so she comes up to me middle of an event. She says, I don't know how you sleep at night. I sat on a big pile of money. Mind your own business. And so the idea of that was to throw that back in her face because I knew she wasn't wealthy, because I knew she couldn't get where I was. And I thought that was the way to respond. I still don't talk to that individual because it's still an ongoing feud about who I am. And again, it doesn't concern me that they're not interested in me. I've got a saying I said it my whole life. You don't like me, there's a better than 90% probability I don't like you either. So it's cool. I don't have to be liked by everyone. I'm not going to be liked by everyone. And liking isn't really what I'm here for. It's about, did it help? Were you there? So yeah, dude, my wife is the absolute leader in the clubhouse on who influenced my adult life, who's helped me be who I am. I already mentioned to you the one business person I've ever had or used as any sort of a person to look up to or mentor. I happened to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company I became personal friends with, and had a cell phone and watch the stuff he does now. So there's a lot to that, but from a perspective of now, it's definitely my wife.
I love that, man.
The word says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And there's something that you said there. She said, see me for me. Yes. And that's the part that you're never going to fake out of your wife. She knows who you are. She knows the dirty parts. She knows the clean parts. She knows the parts that the world needs to see. And she also knows the parts that the world does not need to see. Right? Yeah. She knows what it is that you bring value to, and that's what she's in love with. She also knows the parts that she gets to mom and gets to help grow. Right?
Correct.
And that is why we people that usually find their strength in finding out who they are have somebody else that they honor, trust, and are a part of them that are able to show them who they really are. Because our perception of ourselves a lot of times is not at the level that it should be to accomplish the things that we want to, unless somebody else sees it and says, let me call this greater thing out of you.